This is a proclamation on Domestic Violence Awareness Month for October 2025. It was at the request of Safe Passage. Whereas Domestic Violence Awareness Month calls for attention to the fact that domestic violence is widespread and impacts every person in this community. And whereas domestic violence and intimate partner violence impacts our community, and statistics show that 1 in 3 women and 1 in 5 men in the United States have experienced rape, physical violence, or stalking by an intimate partner in their lifetime. And whereas the United States intimate partner violence results in nearly 1,300 deaths per year, more than 3 women are killed by their intimate partner every day. And whereas the theme of this year's Domestic Violence Awareness Month campaign is Love Shouldn't Hurt, the campaign calls on new partners and community members to help expand domestic violence prevention and awareness efforts to ensure the next generation fosters attitudes that promote healthy relationships, equal respect, and equality. Therefore, I highlight the mayor for the city of Sandwich, Illinois, join Safe Passage and advocates across the country making and taking action to prevent domestic violence, and to hereby proclaim October 25 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in the city of Sandwich, a reminder to everyone that each day is an opportunity to create a change for the future. In witness thereof, I set forth my hand to cause the seal of the city of Sandwich to be affixed on this date, and that is the proclamation. All right, next up is item B. This is a presentation by Woodle Group. Don, if you're ready, can you bring everybody up and we'll start the presentation?
Company-wide, we have, upwards of 450. We've been in business since 1989, and our company literally just hit the 35-year anniversary mark last Thursday. So, Council, thank you very much for taking the time for us this evening and get us on the agenda. What I'd like to do in the next few minutes is introduce an idea and a concept we have for your lovely city here at Sandwich of apartments for seniors 55 years and older. In 55, I know I qualify, so it's young, vibrant, healthy people of 55 plus. That was a joke. Thank you for laughing. Okay, let me, Omer was kind enough to pass out some things for you, or pass out the presentation. Levi Green is a play on Mr. Hugh Branham, Mr. Green Jeans from Sandwich, Illinois. I remember Captain Kangaroo very well. I thought that was kind of a neat thing. So what you're looking at in the first slide is looking at the south side of the building, and we'll get to the location in just a second with the next slides, but the south side of the facade, our seniors enjoy the solariums, the thing you see there to the left of the page there, that's pretty much a glass room, so folks can go in and feel the heat in the winter while they're looking at the snow. All of this is conceptual. We haven't finalized colors, anything like that. We're just getting out of the blocks, and my purpose of coming to you tonight is just to introduce ourselves again and the idea that we have for your great city. Next slide, please, Jeff. So you folks know your town way better than I do. This is the 8 acres just east of the Dearborn Cafe. Originally, we thought we might be able to do the empty ground there behind the Dearborn Cafe, but couldn't make that work with getting the land under control. So the 8 acres next door seemed appealing to us. It's got some issues, which we call hair on the site, but we believe we can work through them pretty easily. And the next slide, that's the hair I'm talking about. That's from the FEMA flood map. Story, again, none of this is written in concrete or stone. We're just, we've got an idea here. I won't read to you what you can see there, but we have adequate parking. We're gonna screen off the front of the building, mainly from the railroad tracks across the street. You see the solarium marked. All of our seniors love the fenced dog park. We won't do a project if we don't put in a fenced dog park. You know, the building is it's a controlled access building. You can do the next page, Jeff, if you want to zero in on the side a little bit. The controlled access building, where you have the fob, where you gotta intercom the house, the resident, on-site management. All of our senior buildings have community rooms where there's a kitchenette. They get used a lot for the puzzles and the gatherings and baby showers and all kind of things, and they seem to be a very nice amenity. And we'll likely put a little fitness center in here as well. The next slide, just again, I'm not going to read to you. That's our unit breakdown. We think we have a good market for 57 apartments. This is a look at the same side of the building, just from the, from the eastern, excuse me, yes, the eastern side. Again, an idea we have. The next slide is an actual unit, a senior unit we finished just about last year. Our apartments are done amazingly well. I'll say that. I've worked for the company for 15 years. We are our own developer. We are our own GC. We are our own property management company. And Jeff Woda and David Cooper oversee all operations. I report directly to the principals. So does the management company. So does the construction company. Very hands-on, very design-oriented development. We want our folks to come in. We want them to feel at home, and we want them to stay. The bedrooms, broken down as they are, we're going to rent, well, if they rented today, those are the rents on the screen. Those are the rents the household pays. That's kind of how it works. We figured we'd do an all-electric building with the LEED Platinum design. The next slide, please. And this is how it all works. It's an affordable development, and affordable means it's not market rate. The rents are not $1,500 a month. They're what we just talked about on the previous slide. How we do that is we apply to the Illinois Housing Development Authority, IDA, and we apply for these things called tax credits. If we are awarded these tax credits, we sell them to a syndicator who go out and sell them to investors. So $11 million, like any other property would, 3.3 million, that's our numbers of today. IDA has a nice loan package. It's like a 4% interest rate, helps these projects out a lot. There's not a lot of money out there to do it with. And then of our developer fee, we're gonna put $960,000 back into the project. We'll get paid over the next 15 years. Overall, to build this thing with the soft costs and everything, it's a 21 million plus investment that we want to do here. And just so you have it, my name's Barry. This is Omer. Oh, I lost that. We work together here in Illinois. Again, we're based out of Columbus. And again, just wanted to tell you folks who we are, propose this idea, and if we can get a favorable nod in any kind of way, we will pursue it. If you tell me you don't like it, you tell me you don't want it here, you won't see me again. I won't do that. We won't do that. We come in, we want to be a good neighbor. That's our biggest thing we do. 450 properties, we wouldn't get to 450 if we didn't do what we said we were going to do. Our nearest property here is in Oswego. We just finished one called DeVille Manor. It's 42 units, senior deal. Looks a lot like this. It's in lease up now. We also have down in Champaign. We're also down by east side of St. Louis, over in, I can't remember the county. It's the Breeze, Illinois, St. Clair County. And we're also down in Belleville with Trolley Circle. It's another senior deal. If you give me a favorable nod tonight, or just any kind of inclination that you would see favorably on the project when we ask for any kind of zoning changes, which we would need, we'll put an application into IDA on the 17th of this month. We won't hear from them until December, and then it's a red light or a green light. It's a subjective review. If we get the green light, we do a full application in March of next year, and then sometime in the summer of 2026, we would know if we're even moving forward. So we've got a lot of road to hoe here. This isn't finite tonight. It's not anything, but again, we're just trying to get a feeling from the committee or the council on if this is something that Sandwich would like having their town. So.
Okay, a little bit from myself first before I let Alderman Danko start, and we'll go around the room with any comments. So I did have a chance this morning to look online at your Oswego property. Closest one to us, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about how successful or unsuccessful that was with its fill rate and occupancy?
Well, it's in lease up now, and we just finished, we just started the lease up maybe about 2.5 months ago. The construction went fantastic. It was a learning curve for us, I have to admit. We had to deal with a union presence that we hadn't anticipated. Shame on me for not figuring it out before we got in there. The town, we went to them, and much like the fashion we're doing here, the village of Oswego, we told them what we wanted to do. They had ideas they wanted to see. I didn't start with a 4-story building. They asked for one. They didn't want the 3-story. They wanted to make more of a better turn there on the corner of 5th and I forget the name, Weiss, I think it is. It escapes me. But we worked with the village, hand in hand with them, and we came up with a plan that they would approve. And it was a PUD. Construction went real well. The building department was fantastic to work with. We're finishing up some things now, and the lease up is going quite well.
So when you're done with that, what will you apply to Sandwich that you learned from Oswego that you'll utilize here to our benefit?
I'm sorry, sir, what was that?
Yeah, so what have you learned from Oswego that you can apply to the city of Sandwich's development if it occurs that would be to our benefit?
Well, it's not so much what we learn there. We kind of learn it everywhere. You have to work with the municipality. You have to be the good neighbor. We don't own the site. If we go forward, we will buy it. But we have to work with you. If it's not a good deal for the city of Sandwich, it's not a good deal for us. As I said earlier, if you don't want me, I'll go away.
Yeah, so I see this in Yorkville, it's on 34, you'll see that in Batavia, you just did Oswego. So this is some of our, what we call prime Route 34 properties. So to me, it's a trade-off between property development and sales tax for something that's business or commercial, and residential that has probably a little more money to it because you're gonna build vertical. And then we're also gonna be looking at, I think, probably utilities in lieu of sales tax. You're gonna have individual utility units there or utilities that are gonna be generated from the property for, what was it, 57 units?
We're not going to generate utilities. We'll be a customer.
Customer, right, but I mean, for us, you'll be generating utilities in lieu of the property generating sales tax. Right?
Yes.
That's the trade-off, right?
Okay. I never thought about it that way, Mayor, but yes.
Yeah. Okay. Don, any comments?
I would love to see a little tour of the Oswego facility.
We can arrange that quite easily.
All right.
We were talking about that before, and I would like to be involved in that too.
Well, Alder lady, woman, I'm sorry, I'm vernacular, I really stink at it. You'd think I'd be better, but we love showing off what we do. We absolutely love it, and yes, we can put together a guided tour and,
That'd be lovely.
okay, I make that note here.
I see that the rents are fairly reasonable on your list here. Are there any sort of guarantees on not spiking rents up after a year or 18 months, anything of such?
Alderman, yes, there is a guarantee. As I mentioned, we work with IDA, Illinois Housing Development Authority. They have rules. We can't spike those rents up. In fact, there would be a ceiling. We can't spike them above. And that's not what we want to do. We do not want to bring these folks in and say, your rent was $1,000 in January. February, it's $1,600. That's just, we don't do that. I mean, over the years, yeah, there could be a 2 or a 3% increase over 3 or 4 years. Could happen just to keep up with inflation and everything else. But no, there's no rent spikes.
Okay, I just want to make sure, especially with a lot of the older people around here, when they have their money budgeted, it's pretty tight. There's not a lot of leeway.
I'm from Columbus, Ohio, and that happens in all the market rate properties right now, especially the single-family homes. Rents are spiking and folks got to move out. It's unnerving.
And also, I would like to be involved in the tour.
Well, you're all going to be invited.
So,
By 2 at a time. That's a very good question. So are you saying 55 plus is, did you say older? Is that the?
no, I mean, I'm
Just kidding.
45 myself, so it's not like I'm that
Just
far
kidding.
away from it. It's just,
I'm just kidding.
I know, especially when you get
Yeah, that's a good
a bit
question.
above that, people retired, money can get tight.
Yep. Adam?
I'll put in for the tour too, because I did take some time and look up on Better Business Bureau, and I read a ton of reviews regarding some properties. And the reviews on Better Business Bureau, I'm sure you guys have probably seen, heard, whatever. A lot of them.
We do our best to keep our residents happy. Every year, we do I hate to say these things, but we do a Secret Santa piece where we go out and we buy all these presents for age groups. We wrap them, we take them to the community rooms, no matter what property it is. If there's households in need, our management company lets us know how many of those gifts we should wrap for boy age, girl age, that kind of deal. We care about our residents. So, yes, understood. Okay.
Janelle?
No, I mean, Adam and everybody else just brought up my concerns, and I'd like to see the property as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Rich?
We've had people talk over the years as far as 55 and older, homes or developments and things like that, and none have really come to fruition for the most part yet. So I think it's a good idea to be moving in that direction to make sure that stuff is available.
Great, thank you.
Okay, Matt?
Are you looking at any other properties around? or just fixating on that one?
Well, around Sandwich, the county, we're getting so far down to that 17th deadline, we've kind of narrowed in. We are in bigger terms, sir, we're looking at one in Carpentersville that we believe would be a good fit, good reception there, as well as this, I feel this is going well. We just left the city of Kankakee earlier today where we just found a site. We really like it. We went and talked to the city officials and had a good conversation. Got a long way to go there. And then we're also looking down in Carbondale. So yeah, the way that this works is you don't want to, it's called a pool. If you're going to be, this is a non-metro. We don't want to do another non-metro deal. We just want this one in non-metro. So kind of double talk that answer. Not in the immediate area, but yes, we have 3 other ones we're looking at, and if we can get them to pull together by the 17th, we will submit them. We believe they're all good deals. We've been awarded multiple deals in the same year. Some year we've been told, go away, come back next year. So we'd love to get 2 deals this year. We'd love to be in Sandwich, and that's kind of where our world is now.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds like we're supportive, but we'd like to have tours, so if you could arrange that through our administrator, we'll get the information out maybe on a couple of dates and times that the council can get there.
Okay, Omer, did you want to say one thing?
Yeah, thank you so much, City Council, for your consideration. I just wanted to add one note to the question that Jay had arised with that in terms of rent increases. So the Illinois Housing Development Authority requires us to only underwrite a 2% increase in rents year over year. Additionally, we are abiding by a 15-year initial compliance period where we are required to keep the rents affordable. However, Woda Cooper, in its 35-year history, in managing over 400 properties, has only sold one small portfolio of rural deals. So with that being said, Woda Cooper owns and manages all of its properties into perpetuity and even goes above and beyond that initial 15-year compliance period.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
He gets a little further in the weeds than I do. That's why I keep him around. Okay, thank you so much.
Great, thank you. Item C is homecoming. So we had a request from Sandwich High School to close the streets for homecoming. This is an annual request. I know they've been working with Tony and with the chief, and I believe we worked on an alternative route so we don't have to cross 34 and staying away from Main Street. Any comments, Tony, or?
I don't have that in front of me, but Officer Bright, as a SRO, has been working that where it's going to cross just before 34, I believe, circle back into the school. So it's saving closing down 34 or trying to cross 34, which has been problematic. I don't have the exact route in front of me. I can say exactly what streets. I think that's.
Yeah, I think it's Terry, College, Wells, and back to Lyons is, I think, where they're looking, so. I think it's a good thing not to cross 34, so, okay. So that'll be up for council to review, and then also the Taste of Sandwich, we'll be looking to close Railroad Street between North Main and Wells for our Taste of Sandwich. Dates are on there, 24th, 25th, 26th. We have a final date for cleanup and removal of the seating that's down there. Okay, any questions on those?
The parade, I'm sorry, I thought the parade was coming down Main.
It was, but the chief had indicated that there were a lot of people that just turned on the Main and they had trouble blocking it from 34, so he preferred to stay off of it. That was his request, that they had too many issues with people turning the wrong way, and
Doesn't that say Main right there?
it does,
Did
but
we not get that update? I'm just asking because I'm seeing on here that it's.
their request was Main. He's asked them not to use Main or cross 34 due to manpower and the need to better protect the parade route.
I was notified like 5 minutes after sending the packet that they wanted to change
I
it.
thought maybe I missed
so-
something. I'm like, here
Nope.
it says Main Street, so I'm just wondering.
You
Okay.
know, I believe Officer Bright is still trying to work with them to finalize a route that's best for everybody.
Just a comment about that also. I mean, they've always been doing it the same way, and I hate to see something change just for the sake of change. And as far as manpower goes and things like that, I think we have the same amount of manpower that we've had. Probably more people working on a shift. And my other comment was, I believe even last year they had Public Works assist with it also. I mean, we're only talking, what, maybe 45 minutes tops, start to finish for the parade?
I mean, they just
So-
come down in front of the businesses, then.
Well, they used to come down in front of the businesses when they're allowed to decorate all the windows and there was more activity, but they haven't done that for years, I don't think. Not
I
the
think
same.
the city still likes to see them come down there. I mean, just because they don't decorate doesn't mean they don't like to see their teams come down. I mean, that's me, I don't know. I would think that we'd still do that, but.
Well, the chief's not here tonight, but I'll let him get back to us. I think he was just
I
trying to
can
work
share
out
the
something.
feedback with Chief as well and with Eric to be aware. And I don't know if it is a done deal, as Mayor said, so we'll share that feedback.
Thanks, Tony.
And I'm sorry to interrupt, there's never actually been a street closing request or anything. It's just a matter of making sure that we have the certain intersections.
Yeah, I think we've got the application.
But I'm saying I don't think we've ever used one before because it's just a matter of doing the parade route, similar to the,
I think I've had them for the last couple of years.
I've never seen one for a parade route, so.
I don't know that I keep them, but I know that I've received them, so.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
All right, attorney report, Attorney Gottschalk.
I don't have anything right now, thank you.
Okay, city clerk report, Denise E.
No report, thank you.
Treasurer report, Sandra Kohler.
Nothing at this time.
City administrator report, Jeff Penman.
I'm going to hold my comments to the next meeting.
Okay, city department reports, EMA, Tony Eberly.
Okay, I've got a few reports, also speaking for Chief Sunny as well. Just to let everyone know, the outdoor warning siren test did not happen today. The team was assisting with a accident on Pratt and East Sandwich Road that had to close down the whole road. So we will have the siren testing October 7th, as usual. Let's see. So last Thursday, Chief and I met with DeKalb County, talking about the parade to talk, I can't talk today, talking about the fair and the logistics with that. So a couple of items from Chief. The police department will be having walk-arounds during their shift at the fair, as they did last year. On Friday and Saturday, Sergeant Meisner will be assigned with the fair to monitor the traffic during the afternoon and evening, with other sergeants handling the rest of the days during the morning and the evening shifts. We were able to get some additional signage to help with traffic trying to enter on the Lisbon Street. So we'll work with the streets department to get that sign up, and then also have a sign that points to Pratt Road to help alleviate some of the congestion there. With Jeff's help, we worked with the the contractor working on Main Street. So we're gonna have Lisbon to 6th Street open so we can direct the traffic over to Latham Street to help alleviate anything trying to turn south or north. My team is gonna be at Castle and Lisbon, as well as Main and Lisbon, to help traffic and try to prevent any issues or people turning south. And then I want to say thank you to Kendall County EMA. They are letting us use their light tower for the corner of Castle and Lisbon. So I think I covered everything. And just a notice to please try to use the Pratt Road. As your friends and family come in, try to stay away from Main Street just to avoid congestion. And we're also going to be giving priority for EMS going to the hospital should anything happen during the fair.
Okay, questions for Tony? All right, thank you, Tony. Engineer report, Kurt Detman.
All right, I have a few things tonight. Main Street improvements, Fisher Excavating, continue working on Main Street. The water main trunk line is in and complete, and they're continuing actually working on the services right now. Out at Fairwind subdivision, there were deficient ADA ramps recently replaced on various street corners. I believe the number was 10 ramps were replaced. At Fairwinds Phase 4A, the construction is nearly complete out there as far as infrastructure. Road paving and binder course was completed today. And I believe streetlights, dry utilities is kind of what's left out there to be done. Punch list walk, checking things like that. So we had a city representative out there watching paving and making sure the paving was being done properly, which is very important for this project, as well as we have been out there to check certain things with sanitary sewer, storm sewer, water main, and coordinating with city superintendents to make sure that things are going smoothly out there. Pratt Road Bridge has a QBS out there for the Phase 3 construction engineering. The deadline for that is September 12th. And lastly, working with the mayor and street superintendent, Nick Ruby, for Safe Routes to School grant. The deadline is coming up here in October, and we will need to coordinate the lists for the areas we're looking at, the schools and the surveys, to get the information back. And then a resolution will need to be passed at the first meeting in October. So just kind of giving you guys a heads up that we'll be working through that to bring that to council coming up in October. And I'll be working with the mayor if we need to get something on the next meeting as far as the initial read for the resolution for that. And that's all I've got right now.
Okay, questions for Kurt? Okay. Council reports, Alderman Arnett.
What I have to report is going to lead into the lead service line. The guys have been doing water shut-offs recently. We're finding some of the B-boxes aren't working properly, and the fear is digging down, replacing that B-box, finding either a galvanized or lead line, disturbing it, and then we have to figure out line replacement. So we need to figure out where we're going with this as far as shut-offs and whatnot. You know, do we dig down? Do we find a line? Then city's replacing it. So as a council, we need to figure that one out.
So you good, when we get down to that item, we'll bring that up. Okay. Alderman Chun?
Met with Nick today. Spray patching's done. They did about 14 miles within 30 days on top of all the other stuff that they've been doing. So they actually got a lot done. I know a lot of citizens in Sandwich are kind of ticked off about the little gravel on the road, but it's actually helping our roads for what we have right now. So just kind of have to deal with it, and hopefully it gets better. Striping's about 75% done. He said the City Hall Foundation will be starting here soon and probably wrap up before our next meeting. That's all I got.
Okay, thank you. Alderwoman Erickson?
Nothing right now, thank you.
Alderwoman Inman?
Nothing at this time.
Alderman Ketchum?
Nothing at this moment.
Alderman Danko?
Not to this point, no.
Alderman Robinson?
No, both mine are gonna be a lead service line and then the craft show, and we've got those coming up next, so I can wait.
Okay. All right, places us at old business. Number 11A, discussion on lead service line replacement as relates to the North Main Street project. Okay, do you want to start, Jeff?
Sure. All right, good evening. As we began to talk about at our last meeting, as we've progressed with the Main Street project, we've found more lead service lines than we had anticipated. We had initially felt that there were 6 out there. I think what happened was that there was a change in how the inventory was being done with the IEPA. In the first couple of years that it was done, there were galvanized lines that were identified as galvanized. And then in 2024, they were counted separately as galvanized lines requiring repair. So I think what happened is that they had been put on the list as non-lead, and then as it happened, the change didn't get made. So the reality is that we're about 30 lines right now that are lead service. As a reminder, as part of the Main Street project, the water main has been replaced, and we're replacing the services from the water main to the B-box. The part that we're talking about is now we have 30 citizen-side services that need to be done. The way that the statute reads is that the city needs to make sure they're replaced. It doesn't speak to who pays for it, it doesn't speak to any of that. But it has to be replaced, and then once they're disturbed, they're at 30 days that we have to do that. Otherwise, we can try to apply for a 120-day extension, but usually they want very extenuating circumstances to approve that. And staff needs to move forward with getting contractors out and getting that done so that we don't run into those problems. I just feel like with this, it's one of those where we have to get the work done as part of this project, because if we don't, it's gonna hold up the project, then we're in trouble with IDOT, we're in trouble with a number of agencies. So, this is one of those situations where there isn't a good answer, but, I hope the information that I sent the other day is good. I'll let you go ahead and discuss it. I guess the one piece that I was looking for from HLR, our construction contractors, is that if you recall, when this project was done, the bid letting was positive for us. It came in considerably lower than the engineer's estimate. That was right about budget time, so we had put dollars into the budget, but we had reduced it slightly from what we had thought it was going to be. In looking at those estimates now, we're approaching 1.2 million is what we need to spend on this project, probably 1.2, 225. Is that right? Anyway, 1.25 million, excuse me. And we have 1.5 in the budget, 1.544 million in the budget. So there is approximately $300,000 there, which we could use in addition to the 80,000 that is budgeted. So the dollars in the budget are okay. The hard part is that spending money on lead service lines, there's a number of other items that we need to spend it on the water side as well, and then where we go. This is a project, the Main Street project. We are disrupting the lines in this situation, so it is difficult from that perspective. So I'll let you guys discuss where we want to go from here, but I think either way, we need to get going. Staff needs to get going, working with a contractor to get these replaced and get them going. Otherwise, we will delay the project, and that's going to end up costing us money. We found that on Latham Street. We just want to try and get this taken care of and move forward.
Okay, so before we open up for discussion, I did work with Jeff a little bit about trying to frame what we need to accomplish on behalf of our citizens. So some of the issues we have are a combination of what's required at the federal government, state level for the Illinois EPA. And so things that we need to talk about and consider is our emergency repairs, our water main replacement, any disturbances, the scope of what that would be. Do we consider the Main Street project separate on its own and develop policy that affects other projects in the future? And there might be lessons learned as we complete the whole project on Main Street. What is our role to our citizens? These are essentially unfunded mandates, not only upon the city, but also on our citizens. I think we have a pretty good idea of what the cost per resident is. We need to probably decide how and who would pay for that, and the options that we would have for either split or a way to help finance that. And what do we do with people that can't afford it? They also have the issue of the waiver and what the waiver means for us. It still has a compliance requirement, as I understand, for testing and reporting, which still has a cost to that for those that elect not to fix their line, and yet it still doesn't resolve the issue. Lastly, as you may or may not know, I've been in education for 25 years. One of the things I'm always concerned about is what lead does to the harmful effects of children's health. And so it does affect their brain and nervous system. It slows their growth and development. It helps cause issues with learning and behavioral problems, hearing and speech, can lower their IQ, it can decrease their ability to pay attention, and it can help them underperform in school. So one of the concerns I have too is just not only for all of our residents, but especially for children that might live on Main Street or anywhere in our community that we have a lead line. Other things that we need to consider is the timeline that we have on Main Street. And here are some other issues that have arisen in regards to what Alderman Arnett has stated, which I'll let him take the conversation. But we've learned that some of our B boxes, our shutoff valves are either poor, bent, in poor shape of repair, not functioning, and that's lead to some other issues that we were not aware of. So Adam, I'll let you continue on if you don't mind.
So basically what it comes down to, the B boxes, is we've been doing shutoffs. And they've actually gone to several, tried to shut them off, and cannot, which means at that point the B box needs to be replaced. They're finding that some of them, you dig it up, if we find something that's lead or galvanized, we've now disturbed it. And there's your 30-day time, click, 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 click. So when I talked to Brad today, we weren't able to meet. He wanted us to discuss where we're at as a city council do we continue doing these shut-offs? Because if we can't shut something off, we dig it up and find that lead down there, we're now on the hook to do something. And it's the same thing with these lead lines in all the homes. I mean, I don't know where we go from that.
We are responsible from the water main to the B box. If that's lead line, that's that 30-day clock. That's on us,
Absolutely.
okay? The question is coming into being, even through the IDPH lead line, service line replacement notifications. When we find lead on the other side of the B box going to the home, we have to fill out a form and notify the resident and present them, so they sign this to say, and you are aware that there is lead, that's a lead line. If they refuse to sign it or doesn't want to do anything with it, there's another form you fill out showing that they wouldn't sign it. Then at that point, that's it. From what I can read by all the notifications from the IDPH.
Yeah, because right now, if we're sitting at 30, we were given the wrong information as far as line
Yes.
replacement last year. We were told $6,000 to $7,000. Now we're being told 10,000, 10,200. We're looking at 30 lines alone there, you're on street. And we're talking about many, 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 many more possibly here in town. I mean, you could be going million, 2, 3 into lead lines.
But do you know we already have an ordinance in place stating that all repairs from existing service lines from the water shut off to the resident is the responsibility of the homeowner?
We have that, yes.
So now if we're looking at trying to do something, this ordinance needs to be amended. It says any existing service line. Doesn't say what type of line it is. It could be made out of clay. It doesn't matter. It's an existing service line. So as a council, are we gonna have to redo this whole ordinance to make this comply with what's been on the books?
No,
Yeah,
I-
that one is actually section 86-5, service pipes.
Yeah, 86-5, you're correct.
Now, isn't there something that if they decide not to, the homeowner decides not to, they are able to get filters instead of doing this?
Yes, we have to provide filters.
We have to provide that. Are they aware of that,
That's part of the notification.
that we've already sent out, or no?
No, that's the,
So there's no, there's
there are
filters that
some-
we would have to supply.
right, for the 2 that are off right now that we have the clock ticking on, yes, we have provided filters for.
Okay, so going forward, though, that if somebody decides not to do it, they sign the waiver that says they're not gonna do it, then we are on the hook to give them filters for the duration of life, or what?
That I don't have do you have a clear number on that? I mean,
think it's
I think
unclear,
it's
right?
been, pardon me?
I think it's unclear about how long you provide
It is
filters.
kind of unclear, because it does say up to 6 months, but then, yeah, it's not exactly clear whether it's forever, but, you know, and again, I think this is the hard part, is that all of this stuff was written conceptually, and now, you know, they've moved the implementation on this 3 times of being able to, is it 3 times? I think so. 23, 24, and 27 now. But at any rate, I think there's been a lot of discussion on how all this goes and trying to figure out all the different notifications and going through it. We've spent a lot of time trying to those things out. You know, I can't honestly tell you 100%, yes, we have to pay for it forever.
No,
but I do
want
know
our
that there
homeowners
are.
to know that there is a possibility that if you sign a no waiver, you're gonna get filters to it. It's not gonna be that you are gonna have to drink out of this lead water. You're gonna get filters,
Well,
are available. How about
there,
that? That's the-
and
the
I would
available.
recommend anybody who it is you know, that they do identify a lead service line, that they should probably get a Brita, you know, pitcher or another, because if you're gonna have more than one tap, it says we have to do 1 filter for either the tap for drinking water or for a pitcher. So, it's usually one or the other, but I would advise that anybody who has one to go ahead and be filtering their water as it is to get the lead out of it. The big concern with the galvanized pipe is not necessarily that it's galvanized that's downstream of lead. Okay, in most cases, we've found a galvanized pipe is connected to the main, or to the B box with a lead whip is what it's called. I mean, we've since, in modern times, we use copper, and it's not been a problem, but 9 times out of, well, probably more than 9 times out of 10, when you've got a galvanized line that's older, it's a lead whip, and that's the reason that the galvanized lines fall into the category of needing to be replaced.
And do we have a contractor lined up that will do this for the homeowners?
We've got 3 different contractors we're talking to. I think, you know, we have a price from one of them, but the others, you know, our biggest problem is that there's a number of things that have gone wrong here, obviously. The time of year is tough because all contractors are pretty busy this time of year. It's the time frame we have to get these things done and just the urgency involved. So we're probably, if we're going to do it, I think we're going to use probably 3 different contractors if we can, because we want to get this done and continue to keep the project moving. And we're just going to have to figure out how to make it happen.
Thank you.
Yep.
And Jeff, after they signed the waiver, we're still required to test and report, isn't that correct?
We
So
have to
still
keep
a
track
cost
of it,
for the
yes.
city that we can't get away from under the requirements.
Exactly. We still have to keep up with it, and then you have to report it. It's been inconsistent on whether it has to be reported when you sell the house, but that might be something that the council wants to look at as far as an ordinance that would require that down the road. But right, there's a lot of different angles to it. I think it's certainly to the advantage, it's to our advantage to have them all changed out, because then we're not tracking those. We know that's been taken care of. We know Main Street's good to go. We don't have to do that again.
Right, I just wanted to make sure that people knew that they weren't going to be bombarded with this big number of how much it would cost them as a homeowner, if that's the way we went with it, that they at least could have the option to have filters, so.
Right, they could choose to do that.
Just want to make sure there was an option, at least. Thank you.
I mean, it doesn't, right, if they sign a waiver, then that's what they do. But then if there's a new owner, it's probably starting all over. And we have to track all that.
I've got a few questions. Since we met 2 weeks ago, I obviously was very vocal. We've got 3 different things we could do. We either eat the cost and we replace all of them. We do some sort of an agreement with the homeowner, 50-50, 70-30, whatever, some sort of an agreement. Or it's on the homeowner, which obviously we would end up getting it done, but then, you know, got to figure out how are we going to get repaid or whatever. There's been talks about water rates, which are already high. Mr. Mayor, you had mentioned that, you know, some people couldn't afford it. I'm going to say nobody can afford to spend 10 to 12 grand on having their water line replaced. I mean, not many people have that. Yes, it's very important, but as far as that being considered an emergency, not like you have to have your car to go to work or heat for the house, things like that. So, again, I would say most residents would not be able to afford it. Do we have a number yet? Have we confirmed the unknown 25 water lines on Main Street from 2 weeks ago?
Yes, and it's 30. We had one that came off, and we had about 25 that went on. That 30 includes the 6 we initially thought we had.
Okay.
And then we had a couple that were on a side street that we hadn't counted on.
And
right, so
fine.
right now we're at 30. We've got a couple more that that have been marked copper, but we haven't dug them up. So we've seen reason to believe that it's copper, but I'm not going to sit here and say that it's only 30.
So I still have 2 more questions go along with that. Have we prepared city waivers in accordance with what's required by IEPA and IDPH to offer up to these residents when we are making contact with them for the first time?
We have a waiver, yes. There's
Okay.
a waiver that's provided, so we can
Right
make
now.
use of that, yes.
So the memo you sent to us, and I saw, I think, 1 no, everyone else was a yes, and I think there were 3 or 4 assumed. Does the no mean that that person just said absolutely not, they're not paying for it regardless?
I'm not sure.
It was the 30 private side replacements.
Oh, yeah, okay. No, that was a no, meaning, sorry, I don't have that in front of me. I only wrote it. Here we go. The assumed ones were ones that we were unable to, when we wrote this, we weren't able to confirm whether they were copper or lead.
All right, so
Okay.
those three are
Right.
unknown.
One of those turned out to be copper. So
Okay.
that one was okay, but then we found another one that wasn't on the list at all.
Okay, so
We're
all,
we're at 30 right now.
so all 30 of those, they're all willing to have it done?
No, this is just whether they are or they're not. This is
Okay.
whether they're lead or copper.
All right,
We would have to go back out and talk to each individual and see where they're at.
well, I guess, to me, it seems silly we wouldn't be doing both at the same time. Once it's identified, why wouldn't we be finding out at the same time? I mean, we've known for 2 weeks now, so we only have so much staff.
Rich, we don't have, right, we don't have so much staff to be able to do this. The best we can do is, we're just trying to get in touch with people and give them the notifications that are there.
I get that, but then we still need to know what's gonna go on, because in some of these letters, we've already told certain people the
You're right.
city's
There were
paying for
16
it.
people, including the 5 that were original.
Right.
That were, because at that time, it was, we had 8 when I went out of town, we came back and we had I came back and we had 16.
Right,
So,
and I still don't understand how we okayed these 16, is my question also, another question. Is there an answer to it?
no, other than initially, when we had the first ones come out, I said, yeah, let's go ahead. It fits within our $80,000 budget, let's get it done. Because they seemed to be a one-off. I mean, it was a line that came off of Main Street that was connected to a house, that the next one was connected to a house, and then the third one was attached to the same line. So there was no way to know
I
that
remember,
that's
and
what
that
it
one was up on Arnold. I get that, and that's fine. I guess I'm trying to get to the end game, because keep being told that, I mean, this is only something we've talked about or whatever for the last 4 or 5 years with the water service lead lines.
Yep.
So, I mean, I'm a little disappointed, I guess, in ourselves, the city staff, our engineering firm, contractors or whatever, that we had this project planned on Main Street, yet we didn't do the due diligence to make sure that we knew every single one on Main Street is or is not. Why the hell would we care about something, no offense to if you live on, let's say, South Wells, but why would we be testing down there when we're not doing anything down there yet? Get this one so we know 100% sure. Because now we're being held over a barrel as far as what we're gonna do. Yes, they're gonna be replaced regardless, because they have to be. So that's gonna happen. It's just a matter of who's gonna pay for it.
So my understanding is we responded because they did survey, or they did not respond to the survey. I understand the potholing was done just to identify it throughout the community if there were other areas that it seemed like another place to investigate, right? And I get the fact that the logic might have been, why don't we just do all of Main Street? I think the logic was that we knew that there were places that were uncertain, so we're gonna go have those potholes, and they came up bad, then we know we may have a bigger problem. Well, we found out the bigger problem was our first project, Main Street, and it may not be the limit to our
Correct, and I
problem.
guess what I'm saying is that, all right, we already had the grant money for the surveying, we had the grant money for the potholing. It would have made sense to plan it to get Main Street 100% known, rather than being found out right now when they're starting to redo the water lines, that we have all these issues. And again, I'm pointing the blame at all of us, past and present, council, administration, but also staff. We've had people that have been responsible to do this stuff, and then also our engineering firm. I mean, they gave us a presentation back in November of like 20 or 21, 4 years ago, I believe it was, on this, knowing that this is what's gonna happen. And again, I'm just disappointed that we wouldn't have known on Main Street what's gonna go on.
But I think in hindsight, that's easy to say, but that's not the reality. The reality is that we didn't know some of these things till we opened up the parkway and the street and found out that even though we tested the areas, or didn't, that we found there were galvanized lines that we didn't know about, and in the inside, it could be something else, or that homeowners didn't respond, or they didn't respond correctly. So we can make that assumption, but the bottom line is we have a problem and we need to solve it.
Correct, but we also need to have all these things addressed, so we don't have these problems later on.
And the other part
Because
is-
next year, we're doing Pleasant, correct? Or the following year,
2
we're doing
years.
Pleasant.
2 years.
And I had said, it'd be the same thing, because that magic number, I believe, was 1986, that federal government said no more lead lines, so
So that one's our lesson learned. We have another opportunity to apply for a grant. If we get the grant, we're gonna do the whole East Pleasant Street. That's the lesson we learned from the last grant.
which is fine and good, but I'm just saying, you've got a lot of subdivisions that were built after 1986.
My house was 53, it's got a, it's got a
Most of
copper
them.
line.
Yeah.
Who knows, right?
And I don't know what I have, to be honest with you. I don't ever remember seeing the survey come through. But then my follow-up final question would have been, is there a list started at City Hall, not with each individual alderman, because that's silly if anybody ever gets directed to an individual alderman to tell them that they have a lead line at their house, would be, is there one started at City Hall that has confirmed lead lines or the normal lines, and the people who are already saying, no, they're not gonna pay no matter what for it, so they want a waiver? If we already know that we've identified these ones on Main Street, so now we have to go back to all 30 of them and see if they're willing to
But
pay.
isn't that the issue, though? Like, if you come to my house and say, do you want to replace your line? And I'm going to say, how much does it cost?
Absolutely, sure.
Right? That's why we're here tonight, right? How
Well-
much does it cost and who's paying for it?
Well, I think we know what it's gonna cost, and I think we're paying for it regardless. It's just a matter of, are we getting reimbursed, or are we just eating the cost?
Right.
And if we eat the cost, if the city council says we're gonna eat the cost for everyone, that's
That's
fine.
what we're going to do.
That's what we do. But that's, is that fair to all the homeowners that have new houses after? And mine's an older house too. I think mine's like 1960 maybe. So I don't know. I probably have lead. I don't know. But all the new ones aren't gonna have lead. So I'm just saying, is that fair? Or is that, I don't know. I talked to some friends about it this past week and I asked them, they have an older home. Same thing. They said, we couldn't afford that. I agreed. I couldn't afford that. Wouldn't want to afford it. You're gonna make it happen, but, you know.
I don't think we're going to find fairness in any of this. I think we just need to make a decision.
But I also think it just needs to be addressed then. Everything needs to be addressed, so it's just out there.
Which is one of my comments, like, maybe Main Street is just by itself when we solve Main Street, right? Then we come back and take our lessons learned and we develop a further policy that's applied to future projects. Because we're not doing another project now until we do something 2 years from now in East Pleasant. But we still every year have to make progress starting in 2027 on the lead lines.
The other question I had, which this has been stated 2 weeks ago, and I thought was inaccurate, but then again, it was in the memo that we got on Thursday. How is this gonna slow our current project, though, for the service side that's the residents? Because our contractor's not doing any of these anyway, correct?
Correct.
So how's that slowing down our project when our contractor's not doing that?
Okay.
Just
they're
because
all-
he's in the way?
Well, currently, they're all hooked to a 4-inch water main, okay? That 4-inch water main has to be torn out before the end of the project. And all these have to be connected to the new water main.
Right.
And that's really what it is that it takes time to do all that. We've got to make sure that we can't hook it back up to a lead service without, I guess if somebody really wanted us to, yeah, they could sign the waiver and we can hook it up to the lead service, but it's not supposed to be any partial replacements. That's one of the things that's in the code, is that when we do from the main to the B box, that's considered a partial replacement. And it explicitly says there's no partial replacements that are to be done, that it needs to be fully completed.
But again, you can't force the resident to do it, correct?
If
On their
they
property.
choose to not allow us to be in their house and not do it, but who's gonna,
We have a right under the code to enter someone's home, inspect the line, make sure it's serviceable, but that stops there. We don't have the right to go replace it unless it's part of this process that says that it has to be replaced. So the other question is, what do they do if they don't sign the waiver? And it's a month, it's 6 months, it's a year. So we have a lot of things we have to decide. That's what I'm saying, maybe just clean up Main Street, because it's the unknown. We didn't know about it, we didn't plan for it, nobody did. We just simply resolve it because our project's there.
Well-
The other part of that, the other cost too is coming back to have them hook up at a later time. We still have to have staff out there to connect to the Buffalo box, to tear up the parkway, to reseed it and replace it.
I get all that, but what I'm saying is that if it's not part of this project, it shouldn't be slowing down what the current project is. Because we're doing, and as far as the partial replacement, if we don't know what it is on the other side of the B box, we're replacing up to the B box, right? We're connecting. So if it's a normal copper from the 4-inch to the B box, right?
Right. Then
We're
if
good.
it's copper, we can hook it up, but it's, if we unearth it and it's lead, then we've got to change it. It's got to be a different line.
On the city side. And
On the homeowner side, it's got to be replaced.
Right, but I'm saying if we're only hooking up to the B box, correct, originally?
Right. We're running new main and a new service line from the main to the B box.
Correct.
And a new B box.
Okay.
All right. And then it has to run from the B box into the home.
Right.
And that's where the problem is if we run into a lead service whip or it's a lead line there, it has to be connected. Or if we indicate, if there's anything that indicates that it's a lead line, then we've got to do it.
Correct. But do we have to do it right there?
We have to do it within 30 days.
Okay, and that's what I'm saying, is if we don't know from the homeowner, yes or no, that they want to or don't, then what happens?
Well, then we've got to take care of it.
What do you mean we gotta take care of it? That's what I'm not
It's
understanding.
the way that the statute states it is that if we disturb it, we have to replace it. If they will not let us in there, then they can sign a waiver.
Right,
But if we can get access to it, we need to be doing it. We
Right.
need to be replacing it.
Yes.
So I don't think it's a want or, I mean, I guess it's a want if somebody really doesn't want you in their house or whatever, but, and again, that's just how the statute's written, as usual. It's clear as mud. It leaves us in a very precarious spot.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yes.
Where did you think in this budget that we were gonna get the money for that? For the 31 that we have right now?
For the 30 that we have,
I'm looking in, capital
right, if you
fund.
look, no, it's not in the capital fund, it's in the water reserve fund. And if you go to,
Page 88.
yes. Go to page 88 is the water reserve fund, and under 450-000090-6800, it's listed as the Main Street Water Main Upgrade Project. That's $1,544,000 that was budgeted. There was an additional $80,000 that was budgeted for lead service line replacement on Main Street. What I'm saying is that based on where we're at and the bid came in, we're probably at about $1,225,000 is where I would anticipate us coming in. And that's based on what we know today as far as the
And we
weather
don't even
stuff.
know if everybody on Main Street's done yet, right? We haven't checked everybody, or we have? For the lead line?
Everyone, there are still a few that have been marked copper that haven't been double checked, but they were originally marked copper. They were either potholed or they were initially indicated that way. And I've asked Nick to go back and look at those. We looked at the ones that were unknown. Some of them, there's still 2 that are unknown, but they're part of the 30.
So the excess funds is in the fact that we budget for the full project that came in under budget, that's the cost savings, plus the 80,000.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here, is Latham Street came under budget too, and look at us now, we've been having to pay stuff for that too. I don't know, I don't know.
So all I want to say is, we're being told possibly 15% of our water services here in town have lead lines. That's up to 400 services. The city has already started a precedence by telling 16 people we're replacing their line for nothing. We already went against our own code because as we pointed out in 86.5, it states the city cannot pay to replace that line. So it is. is we're going to be asked to raise the water rates to accommodate for this $4 million. People are already PO'd about the water rates as they stand. We don't have the $4 million to replace 400 lines. We just don't. For 2 years, I've heard it was 70 lines. Now possible 400? The ball was seriously dropped on this. I mean, seriously. The information we've been given time and time and time again is wrong. And that's, we're being asked to vote on things with wrong information.
Well, that's the same information I was provided, and I'm not exactly happy about it either. To be honest, this is extremely humiliating to be sitting here and being grilled over something that I had very little to do with before all of this. But guess what? I gotta pick up the ball and figure out how to fix this. As usual, we can sit here and we can argue about who's at fault. I'll take the blame, I don't care.
I'm not grilling
At
you,
this
I'm not
point,
saying
the
you are to
bottom line
blame.
is that we have to make a decision, okay? I mean, we sit here week after week, we have these discussions, we go in circles, we fight about $3 on a meal, but now we've got a $4 million question. This is the stuff we need to spend our time on. And it's to the point where we have to get something done. At this point, if I gotta go apologize to the 16 people, then I guess that's what I have to do. But the bottom line is that when we put the budget together, we put $80,000 in there for lead service lines, because at that time, we couldn't figure out whether we wanted to pay for them or we didn't want to pay for them. And the last council before the most recent four got on weren't comfortable making that choice prior to new people coming on. And we've spent the last 4 months discussing meal reimbursements when we probably should have been talking about stuff like this. And I guess that part of that's my responsibility for not bringing it to you guys. But I also thought I was going on the same assumption that you were, that we had 6. Now we have 30. That's the reality. I'm not happy about it. You're not happy about it. The residents aren't happy about it. The people who have them in their house are not happy about it. But, you know, I've done a lot of thinking about this in the last month, okay? And the bottom line is that I'm one of those lucky people who have
To solve this, right? And I don't agree with you, the fact that any good lawyer down the road would sue us and make us pay for it. We change our code all the time, and they affect different people at different points of time with different outcomes decided by the council. That's just how our law and our code work. The other issue is that this doesn't take effect till 2027, even though we're dealing with it now, only because we had a road project. This goes till 2037. Our plan was to put aside so much every year to deal with these issues as they came up. There are certain instances we're obligated to pay for it. We talked about B boxes, right? Those are things we didn't plan on either that we're finding out haven't been repaired or have simply failed. So solve the Main Street problem, make a decision, and then we will come back on a policy that affects us moving forward, because the next project isn't for 2 years, right? And it's the same time that we have to start our full program and report. So where I think we're at. Decide to do this, decide to do that, I don't care, but as a council, make a decision, and we'll put it in place, and we'll figure out how to solve Main Street with it. You're gonna make people happy, and make people upset no matter what you do. And y'all have been elected to solve people's problems. However you do it, you're here to solve the issues at hand and make our city better for it.
Well, I think you're right. We were all elected to try to help solve these problems, and some of these problems started with $3 and $4 and $5 meal reimbursement issues, Jeff. So when you were wondering whether or not I was gonna say something about it, yeah, I am. Because if something like that would have been addressed by staff or by supervisors at the time, or a year ago, when maybe we could have upped the rate anyway, it could have been addressed. But because I call something out because it's in a rule and it's part of the policy, that's the way that it works. So that's why maybe it was discussed so long, because somebody wasn't willing to tell somebody that, no, you can't do this, or you shouldn't do this. Because again, I don't think anybody that works in this room would expect to get $45 for a lunch reimbursement. That's just my opinion, though.
Okay.
Okay, so back to Main Street. Do you feel you're in a position to make a decision tonight? Because we're going to have, obviously, public comment, I assume, here at some point. You can hear some of our citizens' point of view. Do you need to wait another meeting? Do you need more information?
No, I mean, we're fixing them regardless. It's just a matter of who's gonna pay for it,
Right,
correct?
right.
So keep fixing. Keep fixing. What else are we supposed to do?
Okay.
That's me. We got 6 more.
I get, my question is real quick, where are the B-boxes for most of these located? They're not in the pavement in the road, correct? They're in the
Some are.
yards, in the easement or in the yards? I mean, that's.
Yeah, driveways.
So reconstructing curbs and paving the street, once the new water lines are in the yard and quasi-connected or whatever is happening, there shouldn't be any damage to the brand-new curbs or pavement or anything.
All right, so when the contractor does the short or long services, whether they're going to the far side, because the water main's on the west side of the road. So the short services are going to those western houses, and they're just going right there. The longer service, they have to go further under the road to get to the B-box. The B-boxes are generally located right on the outside of where the sidewalk is, right there on the right-of-way line. So they're putting brand-new B-boxes in and running new copper lines and connecting to the new main. Once they identify, what they're dealing with, obviously we have that 30 days if it's something that's not copper, if it's galvanized or lead, and they can cover it back up. The new contractor that's doing the home private side service can come in, dig there's a special document that's signed by the homeowner that gives the right for the city to come in there with their contractor to do that work. They dig up that new B-box area, and run the line into the house, connect it, and then connect everything up. So that is the private side service that's done. Now, the sidewalk work hopefully is what the problem is, obviously, because they got to rip that sidewalk up to do that B-box. The key is that replacement sidewalk is not done yet until later in the project, and we're coming in right behind when those services are done on the city's project side to go to the private side, and then the sidewalk is repaired as part of the Main Street project. So you don't have to do it twice.
Are they still looking to have the job done by November? I know that's wishful thinking, but that was the last date
I would say that's wishful thinking right now. But the hope is yes, they are pushing. I mean, sanitary sewers all in, the water mains all in, they're working on these services. I mean, once we get past the fair and get into, the heart of September here and see how the reclamation's gonna go and move through, they start, closing blocks down and start, churning through that stuff, yeah, a lot can happen in 3 months.
I mean, we can't pay for 400 houses. And I understand we put 80,000 aside, and I don't know if we just split that up, and we don't know that we have the 300,000 to cover it. I mean, giving something is better than nothing, but we can't do everybody's, and I understand this project needs to get done, and they were promised something. So, I mean, you kind of have to stick with your word, but we're also given bad information as well, but.
The key to remember, I think, is it's not bad information, it's incomplete information. The surveys that were done covered 10% of the city, 10%. There was no way to do all the services, every single one on Main Street in the time that was allotted for the Main Street project because it got pushed up a year. If you guys all remember, it was not supposed to be done this year. It was supposed to be done next year, which is part of the problem with our knowledge of trying to get these things done. So that in itself was a big problem in pushing that timeline up. So when you have the 10% we're doing for these surveys and we got the grants for that, we're covering the whole town so we can report back to the IEPA in the time frame they gave us for the whole town's information. The Main Street project, we were led on the side of the homeowners helping us out with that. And we got incomplete information, not accurate information, and then the galvanized part was a whole different ballgame that was maybe misunderstood from the previous water superintendent as to what needed to be counted. So all these different pieces and learning about the process and all the different changing ordinances and things they have, there's a lot of confusing information. There's a lot. So getting better at it, and the big part about Main Street is because it was a city project, not something that was just a project we're not doing any road on, and so we're just doing lead services lines. That's different. Because the city initiated that project, that is the big reason why.
We did that project because the funding from the federal government was available to us at that time.
Well, then can you pay for somebody's and not pay for somebody else's? I guess.
I mean, if we put in place a specific policy, I mean, we have to deal with situations as they are thrust upon us. So, I can't remember, I was talking to someone, if it was here, but, equal and fair, are different. And so it's not gonna be just perfect for everyone, but I think that there are plenty of ways that other municipalities have handled this. So, and not that I am at all suggesting that, the city go back on anything, because I do understand the perspective. But there's nothing in writing that says that the city is going to pay for anything. The council has not specifically voted on any of that. So I do understand, that people may have been told that. I don't know the specific circumstances, but that is, I guess, something else that can be considered.
They received a letter that says that.
That says,
That the city would cover it, is what it says. And 2 people wrote it.
I wrote it.
If I'm correct.
Yes.
Okay. So yes,
Because
there is
those
a
were to
letter
go
out
to the
there
3 houses.
from
on-
July
That's fine.
without our consent.
Well, there you go.
Once again, without our consent.
Well, the question is, I mean, it was said that 6 or 8 or whatever, up to 16. It didn't say the 30. So do you cover those 16 and not the 30? What do you do?
I mean, obviously, I can't speculate without looking at the
Right.
specific information, but what I'm saying is that this is a specific one-off, right? We're in the middle of this project. It isn't the same because we do need to get these done. And, 30 days is not a long time, right? And so there are several different options on how you guys can move forward with it.
And what are those options?
Well, here's another
Okay,
problem. I have.
okay, first of all, one at a time, so just ask for the floor. So the question was, what are the options?
So one is certainly just to pay for it. The second would be to follow our ordinances and say that homeowners are responsible, and there's, I guess, 2 different ways. If they're going to, refuse to let us in and refuse to allow the work to be done, then they would have to sign the waiver. I believe Steve had spoken previously about how Carpentersville had implemented a program, because if you refuse to have it corrected, then there's reporting and, work that needs to be done by the city. And so it essentially puts an extra line on those people that have signed the waiver on their water bills for the surcharge for, the cost of the city maintaining and keeping track of that. If they did let us in, it really comes down to how you guys want to work out collecting it. One, they could agree to a lien on the property. You guys could do a payment plan. And not that this is the best situation, but a lien on the property, you'll get your money someday. And that might end up being the best situation for certain, for certain citizens, is that you're not asking them to pay it up front, and basically, when they sell their house or when they pass away, you'll get your money. But obviously, you could enter into any other payment arrangements you'd want as well.
Okay, Adam?
Well, this comes back to, we don't have the information we need either. So short, Jeff, the short side is the 10,200 that you sent us? Is that the quote you were getting?
The quote that we got that was 10,200, I don't think it made a difference which side it was. We could also go time and materials, and then maybe some of them would be less and some of them would be more. But 10,200 is the number that we got per
Because I've got to
service.
believe short side is going to be considerably cheaper than a long side run. Considerably.
To keep in mind, the private side stuff that we're talking about here is from the B box to the home, and there's no short or long side on those. They're both on their side of the property, so.
Thank you.
So when will you have a final ultimate cost of what per service it's going to be?
Depends how many contractors we use. That's the whole thing, is that they've been reluctant to give us anything until we know whether, you know, how quickly we're moving on this thing, because they have other jobs too. So we have one company that can start, you know, probably this week, but they're only gonna be able to do one a day, and then we've gotta work with the other companies and see what their availability is. That's the reality, unfortunately. The company that we had intended to use, I mean, well, initially, the contractor was gonna do it, is what our hope was, and then because it's more in-depth than they wanna do, because it's gonna slow down the project if they do it. So even more than it will having people in there.
This goes right here.
I mean, if you give the go-ahead, I mean, Nick and I are talking tomorrow morning, I mean, we get going and try and do at least the two that we know we've got the clock ticking on right away, and continue down the street as best we can.
Well, I mean, ultimately, if you got the clock ticking on two, they have to be done. You got 30 days.
Exactly. They
And
have
it's-
to, but every single ones of the others, as soon as we take it off that 4-inch main, it's ready to go. I mean, we gotta switch it over. There is not an option to leave it on a 4-inch main.
My advice is this: take your 80 grand, take your cost savings, and just do it all and be done with it. Doesn't sound popular, may not be what you want to do, but it will resolve the Main Street issue, and then, because of the time frame of the whole project, the notice and completion, and then you can solve the rest of it, but you can do what you'd like. Matt, you want to hand that down to Adam? I'll come get that. Okay. All right, is there any other discussion on the lead line? Any action has to be at the next meeting, or any other requests for information before we move on to the next topic? Okay. Item B is discussion about the agreement of the City of Sandwich and the Betty Erickson Carey Foundation, the use of city property for Under the Beat Top Crap Show event. Okay, so as you know, we had passed as council an agreement. That agreement had some language in it that was given to the foundation. I think the foundation did not feel it was in their best interest. I think there was a request to simply do away with the agreement, but that would not solve the issues at hand. I think you need to decide what you want to do with that. I'm certainly going to tell you we're not going to do that off of a no agreement and a handshake, because that's not how we do business. That doesn't protect the city, that doesn't deal with our risk issues, and it doesn't set the tone for, I think, what we need to do with our first event of this nature. So I think there was a request for our administrator to put this on the agenda. So is there anyone that would like to speak to any changes in the agreement or recommendations?
Yeah, I do. I think, I want to make a motion to rescind this agreement. I don't think it's at all what the city council wanted.
You can't make a motion at this meeting.
Well, that's fine, but I'm just saying what my plan is here. This is not what the city council wanted, I don't believe. This is what you wanted.
But you voted on it.
We did, but I'm changing my mind.
Okay.
So I think from the beginning, everyone wanted to have this the way it has been done for the last 30 years. and that's the way it needs to stay. I understand that, times change, but this is not the year to be doing that.
Okay, but we haven't had this operation this way for 30 years.
Okay, well, we can bring up Woodbury then. Street got closed down. Where is their agreement?
Well, in that particular case, the school had already put out on social media that the
who
event was
did?
going to take place.
Who did?
The school
school?
asked us to close it the day after our meeting.
The school was not running that. Try again.
Well, that's who it came from.
Well, the PPA was running it, not the school.
There's still an arm of the school. You can brush up on your school code anytime you'd like.
Okay, well, who gave the right for Chief Senni to shut a road down?
I think Chief Senni felt there's nothing he can do at that point. It was already out in social media. So would you rather have chaos?
It doesn't matter. Like,
We're on social media.
this is not about the kids at this point. Like, I wanted it, my kid goes
Not about
there.
safety?
It is about
Parking,
safety,
crowd
it is.
control?
But then we also had a food vendor there that did not have a permit, and we allowed it.
It depends where they're at if they have a permit.
They were on a city street,
City Street.
an easement.
I'm not aware of that.
Well,
I believe they were told to have it on school property.
yeah,
I
They
think
can't.
that you said make it happen for the permit, didn't you? Before you left on Thursday? Didn't you tell the clerk to make it happen because they didn't have a permit?
I don't think I told the clerk anything.
I think you did, correct, Denise?
The conversation was that we would bill them if we had to. As it turned out, they already had a temporary license from the Moose event,
That was 3
which
weeks
was held
prior, correct?
approximately 3 weeks before. Jeff was gone and the mayor was gone, so I made the decision to extend that, and they did pay for a permit.
But the mayor was not gone on Thursday when you asked him about it, correct?
I'm sorry.
The mayor was not gone on Thursday when you asked him about it.
I was in Tampa on Thursday. That'd be, I have the plane ticket if you'd like to see it.
No, actually, because she said you were in the office talking to her,
Not Thursday.
so. Don't know where that much communication.
That would have
came
been
from, but-
Wednesday. I was in the
Let's
office.
just get back to the Betty Erickson Foundation.
Well, that's the problem, is it has to be like an umbrella
I
thing.
know,
Because it
but-
happens for one but not the other. And that's
But we
what's
want
pretty
this,
crappy.
we want this to happen.
He says he's not a handshake guy,
I know,
but
but we want
Woodbury
it,
was a complete handshake guy.
but we want it to happen.
Yes, we
so
wanted everything to happen for the kids.
we just need to make this happen.
You didn't see the liability insurance for the bubble foam people. And some kids got stuff in their eyes, their throat. Some kids have asthma. You didn't look at any of that. We could have had some real bills from that one. But
None of that
let's
was on anything
close down
the
the
school
street, but
provided
not let
to us.
a 30-year fair, craft fair do something.
I'm not closing anything down. You have an agreement. You either sign it or you don't. I mean, that, it was given to you. If you don't like it, you don't sign it. I mean,
And,
according to the radio, it's a done deal, right? That's what I heard today on the news.
well, what's
It's
funny
happening.
is, if-
Does that mean then, just to clarify, because the radio would be like social media,
thank you.
so there's nothing we can do, it's all good?
And actually, we're on social media, so.
I mean, I'm just,
Actually, the news isn't, well, it's social and it's media, but it's a publication.
and I was just clarifying.
You're in a smart ass, Rich, but that's okay.
Well, yes, I try to be, but I also try to
Well, you
do
don't
it.
try.
Well, I'm good at it when I need to be.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, my God.
But again, we're wasting some time here where we should be discussing things that most of the residents are probably here to discuss. And again, no offense to the craft show when I say wasting time, but as far as the bickering back and forth between whoever it might be. All I'm saying is that somebody mentioned something earlier about fair and what's right and what's correct and what's equal isn't always. And this obviously appears to be one of those things too, and it doesn't need to be. Again, I think my comments were taken out of context way back when I said, a handshake type thing. It's never been a handshake. It's always been a form filled out or something. I wasn't asking for just nothing, and I understand the insurance aspect of it. But I don't know as if we need a 10 or 12 page, and that's what I tried to say a few weeks ago. But I didn't want to hold up anything either as far as what the agreement goes. But this goes pretty deep into certain things. I mean, we've already spent $1,000 just on the attorney trying to figure this stuff out and put this stuff together for us. So, I mean,
Attorney's got a comment if you.
I'm sorry?
I guess I guess just a couple things. So this document has not changed substantially since the first time it was provided to, after the first time it was provided, there was maybe 2 comments, one about the 30 days, and then it was passed. I did, in your packet, there is a copy that I made comments on that are specifically responsive to a member of the foundation's requests. So these are specifically, the foundation reviewed it, and they provided comments. And these are the responses to those comments. And so from my perspective, based on the correspondence from the foundation, if we can make determinations on these comments, there is on the regular council meeting, a motion to approve an amendment to the agreement. You can't make a motion to rescind it right now, or today, because it's not on the agenda. And you don't want to
Hold on,
rescind
I
it.
need to stop you,
Yes.
because
Yes, and
no, let me speak.
I know the answer.
Let me speak. You can know the answer, but everyone needs to hear this. I sent in to have something put on the agenda, did I not?
Yes,
And you saw it, correct?
yes, I did.
Mayor, you saw it, correct?
I saw it.
All right.
And I advise that
Denise,
it not be
I
put
gave
on.
it to you, correct?
I advise that it not be put on the agenda, and the mayor
You
sets the agenda.
cannot.
What was it that you put on,
Mayor
what was
sets
it
the
that you asked
agenda.
for?
Denise, do you have a copy of it still?
What you gave me?
Yes.
I'm sure I do. I don't have it here.
So here's my thing. It's very clear in the code that whatever is written legally is done by the attorney. Or the attorney gives authority for somebody to do it. And I've said before, I don't want legal stuff written and given to us like that's what we're supposed to be putting in everybody's packet and approve. I understand one person walked it in, but 2 other people maybe wrote it. So who's the author of it, Matt?
I turned it in, so that's me,
Who's
correct?
the author of the document?
That's me.
You wrote all that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Prove me
Well-
wrong. Prove me wrong.
Okay, well, I'm letting you know again that the attorney writes it, so you could have requested something, the attorney would have written it in legal format. for us.
That's fine.
That's required by code,
That's fine.
so you're in violation of the code.
Okay.
But per Robert's rules that you go by, you can't take things off the agenda without telling us. You can't just decide, I'm not gonna put this on the agenda, and we've
Nope.
done this now every
It wasn't
single-
on the agenda because it wasn't written in the legal form.
But you didn't tell him that. You needed to let him know. You just decided, I'm just not gonna do it. That's what you've done for every single meeting since we've started with this craft fair. You've done this to me, you've done it to Adam, and now you've done it to him.
Yeah, and where does that go to? Does that go to the clerk to be on the agenda?
Well, as far as I know, the clerk is the one that writes the agenda. It's supposed to be.
The clerk publishes the agenda. The clerk doesn't approve the content.
I think for the past 16 years, the city clerk has been writing,
You mean
The
drafts the
agenda.
agenda?
yeah,
No,
yes,
no.
I'm pretty sure.
That'd be wrong, because this is very clear in the code that the.
Okay,
mayor
well, we can
determines
pull it up and we can have that discussion later.
That's fine.
Okay,
And you're sure rescinding is the best solution for this?
I do.
Then what will you do once it's rescinded?
Don't worry about it, you'll find out.
Okay.
I do have some questions.
On this
Great.
topic or something else?
What's that?
On this topic?
Yes.
Yes.
It's on the first page. I know we had previously talked to council about street closure and whatnot. And council was told we don't have to worry about the street closure for the craft fair event. The city was already taking care of a street closure for the event we were having. But when I read this here on the very front page, it says the craft fair only gets the parking lots and that the street will be left open. That's not what I understood from our previous meetings. So is the street, because for 30 years, we've seen booths set up on the street and whatnot with crafts and everything. But as I'm reading this now, it doesn't appear
I
that's.
don't think there were booths on the street. I thought this street always had seating.
No, that's where some of our crafters are.
Yeah, I've seen tents and whatnot on the street, actually. But as this reads now, it doesn't appear to where that street's gonna be closed for the craft fair itself at all.
For railroad?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the recommendation or motion is to close it for the 24th,
For the-
25th, and 26th.
But it clearly says in the agreement that you won't, it has to be open and there's not to be any tables or chairs out there.
It does say it in the agreement, they cannot have tables and chairs in the street.
So if we're gonna close it
That's why I'm
off,
just asking for clarification, I'm trying
The
to,
city
Can you tell me
places
what
the
paragraph?
picnic tables. The city doesn't place anything else for tables and chairs.
Can you tell me where you're looking specifically so I can just?
well, right here, the very first paragraph, or that's, you go down
Under
1, 2,
recitals?
3, whereas it talks about where it's actually closed. 1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 2 parking lots, west. I've never been to this. I don't know what it is. I must have pulled that based on minutes and things like that. So, I mean, this was me putting something together. So I
so you pieced it together, is what you're saying.
No, she wrote it, but you
I
also
wrote
could
it,
have
but
asked to have it changed
You
when
did
we
say
had
it
it
in
for
one of the meetings that
discussion.
you just pieced it together because you didn't really know what you were gonna be writing about.
But you had a
So-
chance for discussion to have this removed if you didn't like the language.
I guess that's the thing is, I prepared a draft based on other ones that I have done before. I looked into it as much as I could, put in the information that I had available to me, and then it was presented, and very few comments were provided to me.
Can I ask why on July 26th, I believe it was, Colton sent you an email to have the draft sent to him and you did not send it to him? You
That's
never even
because I
responded,
sent it to our attorney to find out what the final version was that they had.
and you couldn't respond to him and tell him that? So we had to wait 2 months now?
What do you mean didn't respond to him? It was reviewed by the attorney. You're still the agent of record, are you not?
Yeah, but we've
Okay,
already
well,
told you.
that's who it goes to. That's who it goes to legally is the agent of record.
Stop.
No, that's how it works. You stop because I know how a foundation works.
Oh, well, I clearly do too now, so.
Well, good. Now that you know, then we can play the same game.
Great. But the thing is I want to make it clear, in the agreement, it states that you guys are doing us a favor by letting us use the tents if we pay half. You're not doing us a favor with that, okay? The thing is, we're paying half of it like we always have, but in the budget, it's $6,000 for all of the citywide events, correct?
That's correct.
Right now, if we don't help you by paying half, you guys are over budget. You need to bring that to the council to get it approved. Because it's
Could
over
be.
$6,000 just with the tents and the porta potties.
Could
Not
be.
even the wash
Could be, but
stations
could
and,
be, but it's the budget.
I'm sorry?
It could be, but it's the budget.
I get that.
The
but it's
budget's
over
not an
budget.
exact final
So I'm
number.
just telling you that we're trying to help the city by paying for half, so you're not over budget. We're trying to do the right things. We're not trying to undermine anybody in this. Do the same thing that's happened for 30 years, just under a different person.
Not different person, different structure.
It's the same thing.
No,
We are
a foundation is
not-for-profit
different
trying
than-
to bring business to the town.
Yeah, the original agreement was with the senior center that the seniors
Was a
benefited from the
non-for-profit.
profit from it.
And so we're
Now it's still a foundation that directs where the money goes, that is different.
directing it for scholarships for the town. So you don't want to give scholarships to kids? Got it.
Which hasn't happened yet.
Got it, because we haven't had a fair to make the money to do it.
So there's a lot of what-ifs in this, isn't there?
There's a lot, yes.
Yeah. I read the comments. The recommendation was instead of to remove the entire document, it would be for you to amend it.
There's so much to amend in here.
There's only about 6 things, I think,
That's
that were
only what he
proposed.
wrote because he stopped doing it, because he's like, there's too much in here, we can't sign it.
Well, that's what he sent me.
And I'm just gonna say, I mean,
So
we
if
can
he
clearly-
stopped, I can't help that.
Clearly look on page 20 or 10 of 10 in the exhibit page, exhibit B. Clearly in there states that you will not let us use any electricity. But then at the top of there, it says you need to get a permit for the electricity.
Can I ask why none of this was ever brought to me before now?
I think I said we should have kept it the way it was for the past 30 years.
Thank you.
Okay, but when it was, who made the motion at the last meeting? And then everyone voted yes. Did anyone look at it before? I just don't, I am always willing to listen to feedback, okay? I wanted this to make it work. So
Well, I guess what
I
I'm
guess
wondering is-
Adam has some maybe helpful comments, so if
Well,
he
I
could
have
go through
questions.
those.
I mean,
Yeah.
so,
All right, so
Well,
let's start with your first one.
what's that?
Let's start with your first one. It was under the recitals. Was it the fourth whereas? Is that where you're at?
Well, the first one we had talked about was just the parking lots, but you answered the question, yes, the street will be closed down.
Okay, and then can I just, because I think that if we talk it out, I can, and if we want to make the motion, we can say as amended, as discussed.
Yeah, the street will
So-
be shut down, and, you know, we've all seen the tents and whatnot out there, and they're peddling in the street, selling wares and whatnot.
This is Railroad Street?
Yes, it's happened forever.
Okay.
So
Next item?
my next question is, so the foundation essentially does not have employees, but I see a clause in here dealing with workers' compensation.
Yeah, so that's typical because foundation has a right to have employees.
Okay, I just want to make sure that if it comes down to the very day of and they can't provide workers' compensation insurance,
I've had organizations contact me before and say, we don't have employees, we're sending you a legal document to state that.
Okay.
If it changes, then it would be in full force.
okay. And then another question I have, when it talks about indemnification. So for that, it says the city would they would have to agree to any attorney that the foundation had. Why would they not be able to hire whatever attorney they wanted without the city?
So- Okay, so with number 11, it's the grantee, which is the foundation shall indemnify and defend the city harmless from any sort of anything. So, I mean, the simplest example is if someone comes,
Simplest thing is when the school gets a land contribution from us, we have the same agreement with them. They indemnify the city, their attorney becomes our attorney. Right?
yeah, and so they would, it just says it has to be an attorney reasonable, acceptable, so they can't, like, hire Judge Judy. I mean, they just can't hire someone off the street. So, but I just do want to comment there. Do you have the version that I made comments on?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So it is only for the actions of the foundation and not anything from the city's perspective.
Okay. And then we'll go to Exhibit B, because as Karsten brought up, it talks about obtaining a permit for electrical connections and whatnot. But then on the following page, it says the city will not provide any electricity.
What page? Where's
So
that?
that one
last page.
confused me
Which
as
number are
to-
you on?
What's that?
Which number, Adam?
It is, it'd be page 9, talks about obtain a permit from the city for any electrical connections.
Exhibit B, I think, right?
It's under Exhibit B.
So I guess a permit isn't the same, and you're saying in here,
Did Exhibit B come from you in this agreement?
it was in one that I've done before. I mean, so that wasn't specific, but it's very generic.
I think if you just didn't remove the entire Exhibit B, because that's most of the can't do this, can't do that, shouldn't do that.
Because on the following page, page 10, it says the city will not provide electricity, as to where the previous page, it said they can apply for a permit to attach.
So I think I understand what you're saying. So the permit, the difference there, and I am fine if you guys want to change that. The idea was that the city wasn't just going to do it without the permit being obtained. I understand the confusion and why that, but it was just that they're not going to just turn it over. So, I mean, I guess I didn't. If you guys want to do that, you can. And again, some of those things, if you want to put in a not to exceed amount, we can do that.
So the way I read that is that the city's not going to provide electrical service. However, if they provide prior written requests for that, the city could consider it. So it gave you an option of how to obtain electrical, but then simply states the city won't provide it.
Okay, and then On page 10, under use, that's the one talks about tables and chairs placed on sidewalk or the street. Shall not be permitted.
So that's on sidewalk, I get, right? You can't obstruct the sidewalk.
Okay.
It talks about the street as well, though.
In the street, the city will already have picnic tables on the street itself.
I think I understood this, and this is my fault, but I understood this as taking place in a parking lot. That's how I understood this to be taking place. I did not realize that it was just gonna be in the middle of the road. So I structured this around, we're using a public parking lot.
Well, yeah, it is in a parking lot with a tent. That's the primary location of the event.
2 tents, and then the roadway is for people that don't want to pay to be under the tent. They pay to be outside.
And is that also your overflow?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't
Okay.
know that part. So, I mean, that, so I guess just tables placed on the sidewalk are not permitted and take off the street part?
Yeah, because we have to leave the sidewalk
Okay.
open so people
Yeah.
can walk.
Right. We can
And
still
then
have our
under
tents
general-
on the street. I mean, the tents that people bring, not the tents that we're gonna have for, in the parking lots. The tents that people will bring themselves.
And then under general,
tents, yes, thank you.
it says they have to provide protective barriers as required and approved by the city. But if the city's already closing the street down,
We don't provide.
we're already protecting everything.
Yeah.
I do have a question on one of them, though. Under design and standards, it states in there that there is no promotion of like tobacco and alcohol and all this, and I get that. But are we gonna get shut down because a crafter made a wreath out of corks, wine corks? Or because somebody etched a mirror that has a Corona sign on it?
Which one
I-
are you under for the bullet point?
I'm not gonna answer this question.
What's that?
Under the promotes or depicts alcoholic beverages?
Well, it's on page 9. It says, promotes and depicts alcohol, it's that one and the one above it. That kind of, well, not that one, but yeah, promotes alcoholic beverages, promote and depicts tobacco.
The tobacco one might be in the code.
What's that?
It said the tobacco one might be in the code. Under the promote part.
I mean, I'm just thinking that, you know, with the alcoholic beverage things on there, I know there's gonna be people probably,
Well,
maybe,
it says if it's within a 500-foot radius of a school.
we're not in front of a school,
Or church.
but.
Okay,
I'm
so
just-
Or
then,
playground.
So that doesn't even need to be in there.
I mean,
Because some people might be selling a koozie that says, have a beer for lunch. I don't know what it'd say, but I mean, so we couldn't sell that because it's promoting.
no, it specifically says if it is within a 500-foot radius. So, again, a very generic template used. I mean, I guess, I don't know. I would have,
I guess going forward with this, I think what needs to happen with agreements, and this is just me dealing with this, is that when you're gonna do an agreement, maybe get with the foundation or the person and be, like, what kind of agreement can we come up with that would be happy for everybody? I mean, not do this, you do this, and we're gonna send it to you, and then we do this, and then we do this, and here we are, less than a month away for a craft fair, and we still don't know what we're doing.
I mean, Mr. Otto has always known my email address.
But then the mayor will be like, well, I never knew about it, so he tries to do the right thing and go to the mayor like he's supposed to,
I forwarded it to the attorney.
And
He
then-
had some
but then-
questions about the legal content of the agreement.
but then she doesn't.
He's not an
email him.
attorney. I don't think you have an attorney for your foundation. I'm not an attorney, so I sent it to the city's legal counsel.
Always a game.
It's not a game. This is how I
It is
send
a game.
everything.
It is a game. It's
Do I not
just
send you
like,
legal
why-
questions all the time?
Yes.
I do.
Do we have positions on the other comments on there?
I
Or
mean,
do
there's
we
only one that
understand?
sticks out to me.
Yeah,
It says supports or opposes religion, religious denomination, creed. You know, if somebody makes a sign that says God bless America,
It's the last one on
Who's that?
Exhibit B.
I mean, these are very constitutionally neutral, and that's why they're like that, but,
I just don't want them to end up getting in trouble.
Understood.
I mean,
Yeah.
essentially, this
No.
has been a very pure event,
Yeah.
as long as I can remember.
I've got no issues with that.
I've been a very First Amendment person, if you haven't noticed since I've been mayor, about what's occurred in our community. for freedom of speech.
So I guess, I don't know how to read that. Should we take off the promotes or depicts alcoholic beverages even though it's not applicable? Or what, you don't, okay, you don't have, okay.
May I ask another question? On number 13, on page 5. Clarification by that, does that mean that we cannot ask any people in town to sponsor our foundation or ask for donations? What's funny is that you guys are reading this over again. You guys are the one that made this up. You guys should be able to whip that out to me and be like, nope, this is what it means,
Do you think
Karsten.
that this is,
I think what?
You're asking
Sorry.
me a detailed question. I need to read the language again to see if it's
You guys
applicable.
should know it.
I believe in this particular case, the city wanted to reserve the right to do its own sponsors. I think we had sponsors last year. Is that correct, Jeff?
Yes, we had some
so
sponsors.
the language is certainly it's framed in a nefarious manner. Coerce, compel, intimidate. I guess it does say solicit, but the idea is you're not gonna be telling people, hey, if you come here, you have to give us money or anything like that. So, and then the other thing is, regardless, we have to tell you that we believe that what it is a breach before you just, it's all said and done with. And then you have time to cure. So it's not in general, it's in a nefarious manner with the context of the other words that are there.
What I would ask for that to be taken out, because I mean, like.
I don't think that this is actually an appropriate conversation right now
Taking
because
something
of
out?
the conflict of interest that exists.
Now all of a sudden it's conflict of interest. I could talk all night long, but all of a sudden.
No,
now because
I've,
asked that.
I
Well,
have said something, but
and I actually talked to Karsten earlier, and I'm still a big believer in this. The person that's involved in it, that knows more about it than anybody else, that's gonna be more passionate in describing it or fighting for it or whatever, should be the one that should be talking about it. The only time there's gonna be a conflict of interest is gonna be as if she's voting on anything.
that's not
Well,
not true.
Well, again, that's
I
an
sent
opinion.
that, or I sent that information to the whole council.
No, I know, I talked to you about that specifically. But again, it is for that person to decide that there's a conflict of
It is.
interest too. If they decide there's not, and there isn't. So again, if she's not voting on anything, but she's just voicing something that she is, again, passionate about or knowledgeable about, any of us would be doing the same thing.
But again, I guess then why wasn't that brought to my attention earlier then either? That's what I'm.
Which
So
one?
you want to take out the word solicit? Anything?
I just want it taken out.
All I can go back to is the original, that it should have been a couple of sentences, a couple of paragraphs to start with. And then we could hammer out anything we need to for other agreements. This isn't somebody from the outside coming in. This is, again, something that has been going on. Call it whatever you want as far as that's a different group or organization or person or whatever, but it's still in essence the same thing. It's an offshoot of the original craft show that's been held for however many years out at the fairgrounds, and it's an opportunity to get those people who are already here in the area, just like with the Sandwich Fair now, to partake in some of our local things. It's the exact same thing.
I think that, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so I'll go back to 13. I don't know that it should be taken out. Here's why. It says prohibition on certain contributions. The grantee foundation agrees that it shall not solicit, coerce, compel, or intimidate the grantor, cities, agent, employees, contractors, subcontractors, consultants, or invitees and licensees to contribute to the fundraising event. So what is wrong with that?
So So we can't solicit to anybody?
No, it says if you,
We're not intimidating them.
That's why I said if
yeah,
we
but it's
cross off the
solicit
word
the
solicit.
city's agent, employees, contractors, subcontractors, consultants, invitees, or licensees. Essentially, the people that the city does business with or that the city uses for its work.
So,
And again, the city already solicits for our event. We have. Last year, we had sponsors.
right,
We solicited sponsors to sponsor the event.
right.
And the city is also retaining that option for us to do that as well, because that is a city event, first and foremost.
What is?
The Taste of
Okay,
Sandwich.
the taste is. And I've asked for those sponsors, so we wouldn't go to those sponsors, and nobody will give them to me.
But I don't think that we did that because we weren't certain if there was going to be an agreement, what the agreement would state.
Okay, but I want you to know that we weren't trying to go after your sponsors. We were trying to get our own.
I've never said you have, I'm just
So I'm just,
saying that's why
I'm just
that's in
correcting,
there.
I'm just laying it out there, that we were gonna try and get our own to sponsors, so we can have the tent too. So, I just personally think it should be taken out, but.
I guess if we take out solicit, doesn't that cover it? I mean, you're not gonna coerce, compel, or intimidate anyone, right?
No.
Okay, so can't we leave it if we take out the word solicit?
And wasn't there something about donations in there too, or no?
But it says coerce, compel, or intimidate
Make a
them to
contribution
give
to it.
contributions or donations. You can ask, you just can't.
Force.
Which I'd never do anyway, but,
It's
Yeah.
language.
It's legal
that's in there.
language, I understand.
okay.
Okay, anything else in there that council? Okay. New business. Discussion on the repealing and rescinding of the previous adopted resolution 2507 and approving the decommissioning bond obtained by TPEILKE 109 LLC from the Pennsylvania Insurance Company concerning the decommissioning of a solar generation facility located at 599 Sandy Bluff Road, Sandwich, Illinois 60548.
Mayor,
Okay.
can I jump in real quick? You didn't do A, which is the bills,
I'm
We're
on
on
committee of the whole.
but it,
That's regular.
why does it say it on,
Mine goes right from the Crawford to new business A.
sorry about that.
Okay, so under the resolution, the attorney can correct me if I'm wrong, we had to have them come up with a decommissioning plan. My understanding is they came up with the plan, which is why we need to rescind it, because now we're going to accept their decommissioning documentation of the plan.
Yes and no. I think it was always there, but it did not get included because it was an exhibit to an exhibit to an exhibit or something along those lines. So it's just ensuring that everything is there, that then the decommissioning bond and their plan is all approved and published for the records of the city.
I do have one question.
Yes.
In reading this, it's set up for 25-year inflation of 2% a year. Do we think 2% is realistic? Because we've seen inflation hit around 9.
7 was the top in recent years. I think the
So
10-year
are we
average is about-
comfortable with 2%?
It's a crapshoot. It's been higher, it's been lower. We've had years where it's been 0.07 of 1% in the last 10-year look-back period. Is it low? Maybe.
This is significantly higher than what they were trying to
Yeah.
give us to begin with.
Yeah.
I think our recency theory on what we've seen kind of skews what we think inflation is, but it has been much lower a couple times. I think there was 2 years in a row, Adam, it was like 2.4, and then there was 2 years before that was less than 2%. I think it was 1.4 and 0.7. So is it low? My opinion, probably. Is it indicative of the market in the future? I don't know.
And I think like Jeff said, and I know I didn't look at this closely this time around just because we talked about it. This was quite a while ago that this had all happened. But I think that we had to pull on them and fight with them a little bit to give them more than what they'd given in other instances. So I don't think it's an opportunity to change that, unfortunately.
Right, because we had numerous discussions about making sure that there was enough dollars that they decommissioned it in the future. So I think it was originally 200 grand or something like that.
Yeah, the original number that they had for the decommissioning was much lower. We came back to them and said, this does not cover it, and then we wanted them to include into their cost projections for the 25 years, the inflation, and what they came back with on the inflation side was the average value over a 25-year period that we've seen, which was 2%.
I just don't want to see the city get into another water park issue.
No, and that's why we fought for them providing documentation on previous decommissionings, previous dollar amounts, several different things. So we made, because the value they came back initially was very low. And they came back and it's, I don't know if it's double what they had originally, or maybe even 3 times the amount what they had originally. It's quite a bit more.
Okay, other questions on item A? Okay, moving on to B. This is discussion to amend Chapter 2 Administration, Article 2 of the City Council Division 2 Rules, Section 261, Order of Business of the City of Sandwich Municipal Code, Chapter 2 Administration, Section 2-61 of the Municipal Code, Order of Business. Okay, I'll go first. So on the regular meeting, we have stricken out the Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like that restored. And I have no problem with you, I guess, if you're going to take it out someplace, having it on the no and voting or committee of the whole meeting. I believe the pledge should be said at all official meetings of the City of Sandwich. If you're going to take it out of one, take it out of the committee of the whole, and not the regular meeting, which is our official meeting. I also don't like the term old business. I believe Robert's rule says unfinished business is the correct term. So I ask that we consider that. And this was not my request, so you can do with this as you like. I think it's supposed to kind of clear up our code into a more current format, replacing aldermen with older persons and some other things that were not formatted correctly. Okay, any comments from council?
Can I just quick, so I did this based on the request that we wanted the reports moved. I think I got that right. And then I just did it based on what I've seen for the agendas, and so that's why I changed those things. I certainly can take what the mayor is saying about the Pledge of Allegiance. I know it might not look great, but since we don't do it at both meetings, that was the only reason I changed that. So I don't know if you want to keep that in, but most of it is just trying to get it in conjunction with what we've actually been doing.
Get more of these, Tony. Right, any other comments about the order of business? Did you submit one, Janelle? No. I'm just kidding. All right. Okay, announcements, anything, Jeff, other than the ones we have for the next meeting?
Nope, just the ones for the next meeting.
Okay, audience comment. Okay, just a reminder, you have 5 minutes to make your public comment. Once I tell you may start, please don't go over. First up is Becky Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a twofold comment. So I'm going to start with the Betty Erickson Carey Foundation, and then I'll be rolling into the lead pipe situation. I do have Betty's daughter, Krista, next to me. Sometimes the voice can be heard through just emotion, so I just figured she'd stand here with me for a moment. Betty worked so hard on the Sandwich Craft Fair under the big top. I was a vendor multiple times. She was always very kind, caring, precise, and she taught her family to be the same. My last craft fair, I worked a lot with Krista and Karsta on, do you need anything? Do you have everything in place? Did you move your car? All of it. They were very thorough. These are not outsiders. These are your neighbors. These are your classmates. These are your friends. These are your community members. And Betty, God bless her, passing away, that's just emphasized the importance to this family to keep this foundation, to create a foundation to keep this tradition going. We have gone rounds and rounds about the utmost pettiest things in an agreement. with all due respect, I ask again, between the administrator and the attorney, who are two of your highest ranking paid individuals on your staff here at City of Sandwich, what's going on? What is this about, really? The flexing of the muscles, it's intense. It has been going on for almost 2 hours in the tension between council, mayor, council of the mayor, and your administrator. I thought that an administrator was responsible to draw up these agreements, then the attorney looks at them, then there's a check and balance with your council. But the last line of defense to the people of Sandwich are the council members. So I urge you guys to really think about the trajectory of this. This is bigger than just the Betty Erickson Carey Foundation. This is how you're treating lifelong Sandwich members. And as for a conflict of interest, Ms. Mayor, I just want to advise that if there's anyone in this room who lives on a street where we're going to talk about lead pipes that is on the council, then I guess they can't talk about lead pipes? I mean, if you're going to talk about conflict of interest, we have to talk about everything from a water bill. Each and every one of you have a Sandwich water bill, and you talked about that. You voted on that. Is that a conflict of interest? I mean, I just try to make it make sense. That's literally what I'm here to do. But now we have the situation with the council and the mayor determining this contract. Can we get through it? Can we get this thing on the books and start booking vendors? Or are we going to sit and piss and moan about things that really don't matter? I urge this council to look deep in your hearts and consider the longevity of this event. These are not outside carnival barkers. These are people that live in your community, pay taxes, and have been very much effective. And I'm just here to please ask you to think about that when you vote for the next meeting. The second thing I want to talk about is the lead line piece. There's a lot of information going back and forth, but at the end of the day, this is all documented. The only thing that the city is legally responsible for under the EPA requirements of the final lead and copper rule improvements, and I can't believe that our administrator doesn't unequivocally say this, is the filters. That's the honest to God truth. Even under the Illinois statute, it's the filters. Once you notify that homeowner, if that homeowner says, no, go pound sand, I'm not replacing my lead pipe, I'm just gonna use your filters, then you give them a filter, you have a 6-month time frame, then you test the water, and then you sign off. And you say, you know what, my homeowner don't want this. The session where Jeff talked about how, he's privileged for water, et cetera, that's very heart-tugging, I get it. But this is a fiduciary responsibility, and you went from how much to $4 million, possibly? You have to look at the big picture. And at the end of the day, yes, the people that can afford to do their pipes, that's wonderful. The people who can't, they have a decision to make. Homeownership can be expensive. I need an HVAC. Y'all gonna split it with me? I need my gas filled up. You gonna go to the gas station with me and offer me a discount on fuel? I mean, where do we draw the line where we have to hold accountability to homeowners? And the residents of this town are much smarter than that. They're gonna know what they need to do. And if they wanna budget for that right away, great. They wanna sign the waiver, there's repercussions. Get the filters, get a Brita pitcher. I never drink the water. When I go to bathe my grandchildren, I turn the water on in the spare bathroom and it comes out rust red. Scares the heck out of them. We sit and we wait for it to clear up and then we take a bath. Okay? This is just called homeowner responsibility.
Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. And your attitude tonight was kind of crappy, sir.
All right, Dave Borman, you're up next. Dave?
I came to listen to the
Oh.
lead pipe conversation.
Yeah, can you come up to the mic
I
first?
haven't heard any answers that I needed. I had called Jeff last week to talk to him. I heard Rich talking about it. Did any of you council members, when you voted, did you vote knowing that you were gonna pay for these 6 houses?
They don't answer during public comment, just so you know, sir.
I'm sorry?
They don't respond to your questions during public comment.
Okay, well, I'm sorry then.
That's right, I just want to make
Well,
sure you knew.
in that case, I'll say, Mayor, you're the leader of this council. You should have got this lead pipe situation thought of before Main Street started. What happened?
Brandy Bowen? All right, go ahead.
Hello. So apologize, I don't really know how this works, but, so I live at 417 North Main Street. I don't know if that matters or not. Please don't egg my house. But, I think that overall, the city should be quite embarrassed by how this whole lead pipe thing has been handled. You guys have gone now, if I'm hearing this for the first time, 1 year ahead of schedule to start this. You had no transparency in offering any of the people any type of idea or estimate of what the cost should be or could fall onto them, in which you should be providing them a breakdown for cost per foot for 1 inch of the service line from the Buffalo box to the meter, I believe. Is that, well, since you can't say anything, I'm going to assume that is correct. There's been no offers of any of those types of estimates. You moved ahead of project with the oldest part of town, and you are surprised that there are well more than 6 lines that could possibly be replaced. And you had no idea to talk to any of the people about this. Now you're saying that there's going to be the possibility of a lien put on the house because, let's be honest, as somebody who's replaced the sidewalks in front of their house on their own budget because the city had, quote, no money to pay for it, despite what was in the town's rules, that the city would take a portion of that, you know very well you're not going to take any portion of the cost that's incurred, not one portion of it. So now you're saying that, okay, well, we'll possibly put a lien on a house? Okay, well, at what percent? Where did you provide any of this information or the possibilities of everything that could go wrong before you tore up the oldest part of town? And now you're saying we'll learn for the other parts of town going forward? Well, those parts of town are much newer, so you're gonna have less likely of issues going forward. So we're going to incur the cost of that. And if you look at that part of town, many of those individuals are older, they're retired, they don't have the money to pay for that, and you're just gonna pass the buck on to, well, if you sell the house, you can pay for it. There was been nothing but issues with every part of the town that you have torn up. You have had issues with the engineering firm. You have, quite frankly, gotten caught with your pants down in everything that you have done. You should be embarrassed. You should be quite embarrassed. If this was any other type of business, this would not be allowed. People would be fired. The cost would be incurred on the business. And that's sad that now, because you guys could not figure out what you were doing, and you're sitting here bickering back and forth, when you all know legally it is the responsibility of the homeowner to pay for that. That ultimately this bickering doesn't matter, and you've had 2 weeks to figure things out and go to homeowners. You could have all walked door to door and said, here's the deal, we screwed up. This is what's gonna happen. Let's pull together and figure out where, in this worst-case scenario, not one of you guys has come to my door. There's been no mail, no emails, no information provided. You are running this town like a bunch of people who are not sure what to do. Just listen to you guys bickering up here, just now. I hope you go home and really think about what this town means to you and how you're gonna go going forward. And Mr. Mayor, you should be the first one to think about that because you have acted pompous and that should be embarrassing to you. At the end of the day, we all know that the homeowner is going to be responsible. So you guys just better figure out how you're gonna pass that cost on and whether or not legally homeowners have the right to sign off and say, no, we're not going to do that. Because you still have also not even figured out how or told people how their houses are going to be torn up, who's going to pay for replanting things, fixing things, none of that. And you know, like I said, it will fall to the homeowner.
Thank you, your time's up. Coltonado?
All right. I just want to clarify a couple things, and I want to be done, because it seems like we did make a lot of progress whenever it came to the contract portion of it. First and foremost, talking about the interview on WSPY, they approached us August 8th. I did the interview August 9th. During that time, I was still under the consideration that we had an agreement that we were moving forward with. That's the reason why it's now published, shortly before this event. As it goes to, I do have the attorney's email address. Like I said, I did not know during that time that that would be somebody that was a point of contact to negotiate a contract with specifically. I thought it was the mayor goes to her, and the mayor responds back to me. That's my misunderstanding of how this functions. I believe that's how it should function. Whenever it comes to it, like I said, as you can see in that contract, it's a blanketed statement, right? One size does not fit all with any foundation as it is. I believe you chair a board of a foundation that sells alcohol, just like any other foundation, or any other nonprofit entity within here. You can't have a one-size-fits-all shoe to it, right? We don't do alcohol. We don't do any kind of marijuana or anything. Our sole goal is to literally raise money and give it to people of either nursing, EMS, or fire if we can't find them. That is the whole mission of this one, and hopefully do CPR and stop the bleed classes. That is the whole function of what this is. Like I said, whenever we got this contract of 10 pages, it's a little bit of a, starstruck of how big that is, considering this thing has been running. Yes, it has not been these people, but it has been this family that is running it. The only difference is that I got involved so that way I could help the family get some of the paperwork done whenever it came to it. Also, I'm very proud to say that we actually just achieved our nonprofit status. We were approved today. So Mayor Latham, if you'd like to make good on that check of $250, we will be able to accept it, and you can write that off on your taxes this next time. I appreciate your time. Thank you for your efforts of aligning this portion of it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Last item I have for public comment is Janice Boldy.
Hello, I'm Janice Boley, and thank you for your time. This may be already being worked on, but I'd like to see a code of ethics or a manual or something worked on because I was listening to some unprofessional behavior, conversations, spiteful. It seemed like personal bias and not really working towards what the citizens are interested in necessarily. And then some sanctions or repercussions included in that. Along with it, a procedures manual so people will know what is expected, because it seems like at times people don't understand why something's been removed from an agenda. It becomes a surprise. And that's happened more than one time that I've been in a meeting. And then also where they know the basics, because I heard tonight when a motion was trying to be brought forward, when the attorney said, no, that you can't bring a motion now. So information that maybe training, expectations, standards are brought forth, that maybe there'll be more, some cohesiveness in conversations. And then it seems like, I know and I agree that the city doesn't have money, I'm sure, but I have yet to hear any numbers or figures in a treasurer's report. I'd like to hear some in the near future. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wish to make a public comment? Okay, motion to adjourn.
Yes, sir.
Second.
Alderman Robinson, second by Alderman Inman. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, we're adjourned from the committee.